and welcome to somewhere in the Bristol Channel. We've just left Padstow, so we've basically been sailing west from Eastbourne all the way along the south coast, and for the purposes of this video we're going to count Padstow as the south coast.
Right.
So if any questions you want to answer that, you can do.
Okay.
And we are going to interview the skipper with random questions.
Oh!
Okay, so do you want to pick them or shall I?
I'll pick them.
Okay.
Because there's nothing else to do.
They might be about our time on the boat or sort of.
Best meal. Best meal was when we arrived into Padstow after 12 hours at sea, being beaten up, and we couldn't find anywhere to go because it was like 9:30 at night and Padstow seems to kind of close. Couldn't find anywhere to go apart from Cafe Rojano, which is a Paul Ainsworth cafe, and we got in there. They let us in there with the dog as well, and they said, yeah, we'll serve you food. And we got a tear and share board which had mixed sliced meats, sourdough pizza base with spicy chutney. It had a camembert with roasted garlic and rosemary.
It was so good.
And it had little pickled onions in balsamic vinegar, and it had little gherkins on it as well. And we got a pizza, and we got some of the crispiest fries with parmesan cheese
and seaweed,
and a 3 mustard sauce and some crispy seaweed on them.
It was
that
so good.
was a great meal.
It was,
Oh.
but I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say the sea bass that you cooked in Portland.
The sea bass that I cooked in Portland?
Oh yes.
That was a good meal.
All right,
That
next
was delicious.
one.
Right, next one. Best tourist attraction: Portsmouth, HMS Victory and HMS Warrior,
Yes.
and the submarine as well. Oh,
We're
I'd
just going
always
to go for the historic docks, all of them.
I always wanted to go there as a boy, and Portsmouth was just way too far away from the northeast, so going there and being on those boats and so on was just a dream come true. I know people have far better dreams than that, but that was a topper day out.
Love it. Next one. I'll agree with you on that one as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, Portsmouth was awesome.
Best and worst fish and chips. Oh, they've all been bad.
Where are the good fish and chip
North
shops?
Shields. Oh, I miss your fish and chips, North Shields. So the south hasn't exactly covered itself in glory with fish and chips so far. I'd say the best ones were in Weymouth. I can't remember the place. It began with M. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't great. It was decent fish and chips, but it was £22, £23 for 2 fish and chips, so it should be good. The worst fish and chips. Where was it?
It was Falmouth.
Falmouth.
The award-winning.
Oh my God! Yes, this place had a sign on the front of it saying that they were the best in the country. #1, voted by some. I think it must have been voted by themselves.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it certainly wasn't voted by some kind of judge or something like that. They were crap.
They were
And
terrible.
again, they were like 23 quid.
And the chips weren't even made with, like, I don't know, and they were made with underripe potatoes. You could tell that they were still green and just, the texture was horrible.
Boo! South Coast fish and chips. Sorry, I know they probably exist in like glorious form, but we saved the whole
found
South
them.
Coast and we didn't find them. Now, there could be an argument that the best fish and chips could be in Padstow because Rick Stein's fish and chips are there. However,
We didn't sample
at
it.
£16.50 for fish and chips, decided not to go for it.
Right, I will do a quick hot check while you answer the next one.
What will you miss about the South Coast? Probably the weather. The weather along the South Coast, especially in the last 2 weeks, has been absolutely epic. I was talking to some local Cornish people, you know, about the fact that I hadn't seen a cloud in 10 days. They assured me that it rains a lot off the Atlantic kind of weather fronts and so on in Cornwall. Don't believe them. Flowers everywhere, beautiful palm trees and stuff everywhere, and every day it was 24 degrees. And no matter when you check the 10-day forecast on your phone, it was just sunny forever. You know, and not used to that. So I think as we head into Wales, I think that's going to change a lot, and the leaks on the boat Not the leaks as in the L-E-E-K-S, the leaks as in water are going to come back.
Cheers, yeah, I think so.
Not that they're going to come back, they haven't gone anywhere, like, but you know, they're there. Worst passage. Worst passage.
I think we know the answer to that one.
Yeah, it's got to be Mullion Cove to
Not
Milford Haven, and then darting into Padstow. That was a really crap passage. In fact, it was a passage of two halves. First part of the passage, getting to Land's End and rounding Land's End, was perfect. Sailed it beautifully, timed it beautifully, got round there. I think we've already talked about it. It was crap.
Yes.
Oh, I've got sun cream in my eye. Right, what have we got here? Friendliest stroke most welcoming people. That's a difficult one because everywhere's been friendly.
Yeah, we can name individuals. Bev and Stu. But
Bev and Stu were definitely the most friendly people.
Anne
as
and
in
Paul and
Anne and Paul and Eastbourne. The sailing clubs that we've been to have been really welcoming as well.
Yeah, that's
Not to
true.
mention free drink, well not free drinks, that would have been
Cheaper.
very friendly. Cheaper drinks, yeah. So yeah, Anne and Paul, and by far Bev and Stu were the most friendly people. Hopefully we haven't offended anyone there. Where would you most like to go back to? Oh,
I'm voting Salcombe.
Salcombe was
Salcombe's
fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Salcombe, yeah, Salcombe. Salcombe was lovely, like lovely pubs, lovely restaurants,
Picturesque.
beautiful kind of mooring field, a lovely little local butcher to get great food from and stuff as well.
Cheap
Little
mooring as well.
bakeries, cheap moorings. Yeah, it was nice. Even though we're in the middle of nowhere, you've still got to check for the pots. Because I was thinking, well, who's going to be putting a pot literally where we are at the moment? Because you can't see any land, and they're still there. Give a one-sentence summary of Brighton. Terrifically inclusive and a model for modern British cities in terms of, like, yeah, general acceptance. What are you looking forward to in Wales? I'm looking forward to taking Yui back to Wales. She is a Welsh Terrier, and obviously she doesn't really know that, does she?
We do.
She's sat there now thinking, "Eeh." But yeah, taking Yui back to Wales is always nice. I'm looking forward to rolling hills and kind of mountainscapes and stuff. But I'm under no illusions. There's a lot of tricky sailing in Wales, so I'm kind of looking forward to timing the various headlands, of which there are many, so that we don't get horrible overfalls.
Yes. We're not a fan of it.
And I'm also looking forward to fish and chips, because our tour of fish and chips in the UK, it's not going to stop until we get back.
No.
And Wales has to be up there. They have to do decent fish and
You want
chips.
to beat the South?
Won't be difficult. Favourite marina? They're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
I would say, even though the toilets were miles away and the showers are miles away, I'd say Falmouth, even though it was expensive as well. Not because of the marina, but because Falmouth was quite a nice town. There was a lot in it.
Okay.
You know, to spend like
Yeah, it was,
8 days waiting for weather.
It wasn't like a bit of a trek to get into the town.
No, you were right in the town, which was very handy. But marinas, they're pretty much all the same, really, to be fair, aren't they? How have you changed since starting this voyage? I could spend an hour talking about that. Completely stress-free, which is I wasn't expecting. I didn't realise I was stressed until it went away. It's just mild stress, I guess.
You learn
But
to sit still a bit more.
yeah, I'm fine doing nothing as well, which, I mean, at the start of this trip I found it completely, I was an absolute loon. I couldn't sit still for 2 seconds, could
No,
I?
you had to go and fix something. Or...
Wow. And now I'm okay, just kind of being like doing little, very little. Like
Yeah.
I guess we call it chilling out.
Yes.
And I think I'm just generally more accepting of the environment around me. I think in my previous existence, it was almost as if it was orientated around kind of changing the business world around you to what it needed to be, rather than accepting like what it actually is. And with sailing, if it's bad weather, if it's bad seas, if there's tides going the wrong way, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to just understand that, and you've just got to plan and sail your way through it. You've got to accept what is around you, rather than saying, well, I'm gonna do something that is impossible. I'm gonna go through this tide. I'm gonna go through that headland because that's my schedule or something like that.
Yeah,
you can't
work.
do that. Anyway, best sunrise stroke sunset. Best sunset was in Mullion Cove.
Definitely, I agree.
Best sunrise is probably going to be this morning because we're going to be out at sea all night.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but best sunrise, I haven't really seen them. They've been quite early, haven't they?
Yeah, we haven't really.
Haven't been up that early.
We're on the wrong side of the country as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, getting a bit of swell
Wobbly
now.
bobbly. What's this one? Favourite walk? Oh, that mount. There's several parts of the South Coast walk in Cornwall.
Yeah.
The cliff walk was just
That
absolutely
was
spectacular.
just across the water from Fowey, and it was going over towards Atlantic Bay.
That was outstanding. Oh, like I don't know how many hundreds of feet up in the air. Flowers, turquoise
Beautiful.
waters, beautiful sun.
Yes.
Just so nice. Biggest achievement?
Portland Bill was a good one.
There have been several achievements, whether it's just fixing things,
Fixing the toilet, fixing
whether
the
it's
outboard.
fixing the outboard, fixing the toilets, the various headlands and so on. I think the biggest achievement really was just getting here to do this in the first place. If I'm honest with you, it doesn't sound too cheesy.
I'm going to say shouting at strangers and that stuff.
Shouting at strangers, yeah. When we got into Padstow, we'd been bashed around at sea. I might have mentioned it. And then we had to hammer into Padstow because we had 10 minutes to spare before they closed the tidal gate, which meant we literally wouldn't have been able to get in. So we steamed in over the tidal gate, and I just remember thinking to myself, oh, thank God for that. And then, bearing in mind the chaos outside at sea, Padstow was just like a beautiful little sun trap of a harbour,
Calm little oasis.
filled full of hundreds of people eating fish and chips, having beers. I think the first 3 people that talked to us were pissed,
Yeah.
weren't they? But more than enthusiastic, like to kind of try and get involved. And anyway, then it dawned upon me, oh, I've got to moor this boat, I've got to dock this boat. So
on
anyway,
a harbour wall, which we'd never done before.
on a harbour wall, on a
Like,
tidal
what do we
harbour
do
wall.
here?
Yeah. And Faye just went, can someone catch a line? To like hundreds of
It
people.
wasn't quite that high pitch, but yeah, I was a bit
Anyway,
stressed.
that's not like Faye.
And then you
But
went,
yeah.
man in pink shirt.
Man in pink shirt. Yeah, and then Stu appeared and he caught the lines. Seven
Seven
weeks
weeks
in,
in.
anything you miss about land life? Not really, but I'm looking forward to being able to go to the toilet again and press a button. I'm looking forward to going to have a shower whenever you want, and it's just kind of upstairs. A bath,
Yeah,
a bath would be really, really nice.
An ice maker.
Ice, crushed or cubed. But these are small things. Like I don't miss them.
Yeah.
But when we have them again, that will be nice. But I don't miss them.
No.
No. Favourite mooring stroke anchorage? Salcombe or Mullion Cove? I'd probably say Salcombe because Mullion Cove was a bit rolly. There was a bit of a swell in there. And even though you looked out the porthole and it was flat calm, the boat was just like this. All night, wasn't it?
It was.
So Salcombe.
Yeah.
Salcombe was, I mean,
Love it.
apart from the Jack Wills and stuff, that was a really nice place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Favourite passage? Portland Bill. So that was Weymouth to Studland Bay.
Yeah. No, to Brixham.
To Brixham. Brixham, that was it, Brixham. Also a lovely place.
Yeah, Brixham was really nice.
But yeah, I mean, rounding Portland Bill on the inside passage, timing it like that, you know, we knew how bad it could be, and we knew that we had good weather, calculations were done correctly, we sailed through so uneventfully, which is exactly what you want. And then once we turned the corner, we had, for the, I think the only time in 7 weeks now, we had a beam reach of a sail, which is like the fastest, most comfortable point of sail, and we cruised at 8 knots across like 50 odd miles, and it was sunny, it was just fantastic. That was the best passage for me.
And then we got into Brixham and it was lovely.
Brixham, very nice place, really welcoming sailing club, lovely little cheap pontoons to moor onto. Yeah, nice. Best Huey moment?
It's not really a good thing, but Huey keeps barking at people who are trying to help us. So if someone comes to catch a line, she'll bark at them, or if harbour masters come over for payment or to help get the mooring, she'll just start barking at them. So she doesn't understand who's helping and who's trying to board.
No, she just understands security. But I think my best Huey moment has been like, I forgot how adaptable Huey actually is, but she's such an adaptable, intelligent little dog. And when we first got on the boat, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was 50-50 as to whether or not she would make this trip, because she was absolutely scared stiff of everything, wasn't she? But I look at her now and she's in the cockpit and she's just asleep, and she knows the sounds of the boat, she knows when the engine key is turned and stuff like that, and she's gotten to know the lay of the land, and she's just become so much more comfortable. So I think that's the best Huey moment, has just been seeing Huey just get like really comfortable with everything.
I love that she just likes cuddles on passage as well.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see her do it, but she had a poo on the boat the other night.
She did.
So that's got to be a good Huey moment.
It is. The ninja pooper.
We've been encouraging that. We've been training her to do that on a piece of grass, and she must have just gone up to the bow, just crimped one out. No one knew. Bless her. She likes it to be private. Give a 1-sentence summary of Padstow.
Busy. It's one word.
It's a busy food lovers paradise with annoying crabbers.
Yeah.
I say that, but you know.
No, we say that in jest. The thing is, with the crabbers, obviously they have as much right to be on the quay and enjoy their holiday as what we do. It's just strange when there's the entire quay, but they decide to sit right next to our cockpit.
And it was my own fault, because when I got the fish from Rick Stein's bloody expensive fishmonger, the skeletons and the heads I just chucked overboard behind the boat, and that had the effect of like chumming the water, where the crabs, of which there are many crabs in Padstow Harbour, because you see them getting caught, they must have all congregated behind my boat, because record numbers of crabbers and crabs caught were at the stern of our boat for about 2 or 3 days after that. So it was my own fault.
Well, that concludes the little bag of questions, but do you have anything you want to add about being on the south coast, or about a northeastern perspective on the south coast?
Yes, I think that the south coast of England, I was saying to someone the other day, like for us, if you consider the drive from the northeast to the south coast, you could get to Turkey quicker on a plane, like in 5.5 hours, and 6 hours or whatever.
You could fly to Turkey quicker than getting the train down to...
Well, that's absolutely, and the train would, the train probably would be on strike. But so it's just not on a destination for someone from the northeast. I think you'd rather go to Turkey. However, oh, there you go, big swell. I think the south coast of England has completely surpassed my expectations. It's been a beautiful...
Anyway, as you were saying before we ran out of card space.
Yes, south coast. It's quicker to get to Turkey or Greece on an airplane or something than it is to drive to the south coast from the northeast. So I don't think it figures on many people's radar to actually go and visit, because you'd rather just go abroad somewhere. But I have to say that the south coast has completely surpassed my expectations. It's been stunningly beautiful. What a kind of menagerie of like small little coastal towns and rivers and just beautiful old places with little windy streets, colourful buildings, friendly people, you know, just really, really gorgeous actually. And I'll certainly miss it. What I won't miss about the south coast are their weather forecasts. Crap. You know, I spent a fair bit of time forecasting in my old job, and if I was as bad as the weather forecasters on the south coast, I would have been fired, and quite rightly so actually. I would say that there's been about a 10% accuracy to the weather forecasts, which when you're completely dependent upon the weather is pretty bad. But I guess it does teach you adaptability, and it does teach you to roll with the punches and just get on with it, really. You know, a forecast is that. It's a forecast, it's not a guarantee, unfortunately. So yeah, but I definitely won't miss it. And I'm hoping that when we get around to Wales, the Welsh forecasters are a bit better. Don't tell me that it's all the same forecasters for the whole UK and it's all going to be this bad. Because if that's the case, I think the only way you can find out what the weather's actually going to do is if you go out, isn't it? And you just got to see yourself. It's a broad indication. But today, for example, we were supposed to get a southerly from Padstow up to Milford Haven. Perfect. Downwind sailing all the way. And we got a tiny...
Not a southerly.
We got a tiny bit of southerly wind this morning, and now we're head to wind again. So it's a northerly wind. How can you get that wrong? I don't understand. But it is. And I've got to stop whinging because I've answered the question.
You have.
And I've added a question in myself.